everyone, Assalamu alaikum. I'm Marwa Mohkum Sheikh. Welcome to Naramis. Why do wars end? Do they end because enemies suddenly feel goodwill? No. Wars end because both sides are dragged into a corner, when fighting costs more than it gains. That moment is called the mutually hurting stalemate, the point when violence becomes futile, when for the enemy, every attack bleeds more loss than leverage. But here's the real question. If both sides are hurting, why doesn't peace come immediately? Because hurting isn't enough. The order of steps, who acts first, who holds fire, who negotiates on whose terms, matters more than the pain itself. This is what strategists call sequencing, which is not a procedure. It is the power that decides whether war truly ends or simply mutates. So what happens when sequencing is wrong? You get the Doha fiasco. The Taliban were recognized without due reassurances from them. They gained political legitimacy while all affiliates are still carrying their guns. The outcome was predictable. Not peace, but violence reborn. Militancy did not disappear. It crossed into Pakistan stronger and more confident than ever. And what happens when sequencing is right? Look at Camp David. Egypt and Israel fought until both were bled into exhaustion. By then, talks weren't a favor. They were survival. That sequencing made peace possible. Or recall the Soviet withdrawal from Afghanistan. It wasn't driven by charity, but by the recognition of futility. Sequencing made the difference between exit with terms and exit in chaos. So what does this mean for Pakistan? Can we talk to the TTP or BLA today? Not yet. If we do, we repeat old mistakes. First, they must be pushed into a real stalemate, a situation which hurts them more. That means kinetic blows beyond routine skirmishes, neutralizing their leadership, targeting their second and even third tier commanders, and cutting off communication channels. It means sowing distrust inside their networks so factions start fighting each other instead of the state. It means breaking their financing by dismantling narco-smuggling routes and shutting down foreign funding pipelines. And it means using diplomacy to corner their backers, especially the Afghan Taliban, forcing them to choose between legitimacy and complicity. Only when these groups are fractured, broke, and leaderless, when exhaustion replaces momentum, will they approach negotiations with sincerity. Then the sequence must shift. Guns take a step back, politics takes the lead. The army holds deterrence, civilians hold dialogue. Amnesty is offered selectively, as a bridge for those willing to surrender, not a blanket pardon. Reintegration is allowed, but only within constitutional limits. No parallel rule, no shadow governments. But what about the public? If talks are secret, won't suspicion grow? Exactly. That's why transparency is non-negotiable. People must see that peace is not being purchased at the cost of sovereignty. They must know the state is not bowing, but observing violence into lawless politics. So what's the bottom line? Wars do not end with signatures. They end with sequences. First you hurt, then you isolate and exhaust, then you talk. Get the sequence wrong, and you build illusions that collapse. Get it right, and you turn necessity into settlement. Peace is not a gift. It is engineered through pressure, isolation, fracture, exhaustion, and then dialogue. Pakistan's choice is simple. Either master the sequence or risk reliving the cycle of mistaking pauses for peace. What are your views? Drop them in the comments below and be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Allah Hafiz.